a question come up now that the Oscars are behind us about maybe a way to make them a little bit more transparent. Check it out.
Hey, what up, guys? This is Eric. I'm calling from Temecula. I'm calling concerning the Oscars voting process. I, like you guys, thought this year was a way better show, but there was still, some controversy among decisions for who won. I think that's kind of naturally going to happen, but we've seen in sporting leagues that they've started to make the MVP ballots public, and they kind of release that stuff and who votes for who. Do you think that maybe publicizing who votes for what movie and stuff like that would go a long way in maybe curbing some of the controversy for who wins? It's had some negatives in sports. Maybe it might have some negatives for the Oscars. I don't know what you guys think.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling that in, Eric. And so listen, every year the Oscars come and go, and we always get a bunch of nominees, somebody wins, and that always means that for every category, there are going to be people who think somebody else should have won, right? So there's always controversy with every single one. I think the only non-controversial thing this year was Ke Huy Quan winning Best Supporting Actor. I don't think there's a human being alive that had a problem with that. And maybe nobody had a problem with Avatar winning Best Visual Effects. But I mean, pretty much with everything, somebody wins, somebody loses. That's the subjectivity of art. And I love it whenever I see somebody who their pick didn't win, they go, there was some kind of a thing. I had somebody write to me today that wrote, it's pretty clear that the only reason that Angela didn't win for Best Supporting Actress is because the Oscars have an anti-comic book movie bias. So, but that's what people do, right? If something doesn't go the way we want it to go, we come up with excuses for it. So I wrote back to this individual. I said, the same Academy that nominated her for an Academy Award has an anti-comic book bias. The same Academy that gave Joaquin Phoenix a Best Lead Actor is the same Academy that just gave Wakanda Forever Best Design. I know she lost because a lot of people felt that Jamie Lee Curtis was better. I mean, remember, Jamie Lee Curtis also won the SAG Award. So the actors thought Jamie Lee Curtis was better. Again, I would have given it to Angela Bassett. I would have personally. But Jamie Lee Curtis was fabulous in that movie. And I have no problem with the fact that she won. Anyway, so what Eric calls in is something that a bunch of people, I've heard other people say, that the voting of the Oscars should not be anonymous. That whoever somebody votes for at the Academy Awards should be made public. Now remember, that becomes a little bit problematic. The Academy is 7,000 voting members. Like, we're talking actors, directors, producers, executives, costume designers, musicians, all this kind of stuff. It's 7,000, around 7,000, give or take a few hundred voting members. So I don't know that taking everybody's votes and making them public is practical on one side. It's one thing if you're talking about the Golden Globes that have what do they got now? 90 members, 90 people that vote on the Golden Globes. That's one thing. 7,000 would be a little bit problematic. But here's the biggest problem with the notion of making voters' ballots public. What will instantly happen is intimidation. That's the first thing that's instantly going to happen is intimidation. Because what's going to happen is that what you want are voters who are just going to vote what they actually think was the best. That's the ideal world, right? That a voter of the Academy Awards and the Oscars is going to vote for what they thought was the best. What you don't want to have happen is, I actually really thought that Brendan Gleeson. No, I'm not talking about me. Let's say I'm a hypothetical Oscar voter. Okay, let's pretend I'm a hypothetical Oscar voter. I actually personally thought that Brendan Gleeson was the better Best Supporting Actor performance than Ke Huy Quan. And I want to vote Brendan Gleeson, but the popularity of Ke Huy Quan right now, and they're going to make my vote public, I'm going to get attacked. I'm going to get attacked like crazy. And if you've spent 5 minutes on fucking Twitter, you know that that's true. So if you're an Academy Award voter, you're like, I personally think that this person gave the better performance. But if I vote against Ke Huy Quan and that they're going to make that public, I'm just going to get attacked. So I better vote for what the popular thing is. Because we live in a world where people will use online digital terrorism to try to get what they want. If that means abusing and whatever people online and try to bully them into doing what they want, then they'll do it. It's a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea. I think members of the Academy should vote exactly the way they vote. They use the preferential ballot system. We've made little documentaries about how the Oscar voting works. It's not a perfect system, but it's a very, very good system. And those votes need to be anonymous because voters need to be able to vote in such a way that they don't have to fear repercussions. Because that's what anonymous cowardly keyboard warriors online love to do, is give consequences to people for not doing what they want to have done. And it would become a shit show. It would very, very, how great was that gag, by the way?
Good.
But it would become an absolute shit show if all of a sudden they start publishing, because you're going to get people that all of a sudden are going to get just brutally attacked online. You're going to find like thousands of people have to just not be online anymore, all that kind of stuff, because that's how horrible people online can be. So, and by the way, making the ballots public would not take away any of the controversy, like at all. If anything, it'll just create more controversy of, now we got to wonder if certain voters only voted that way because they feared like getting repercussions and getting consequences from people online who didn't like the way they voted. So, I mean, I get the idea of it. I get, and I appreciate trying to come up with ways to make the Oscars controversial, but the Oscars are celebrating art, and art is always going to be controversial. Art always will be controversial. And because it's subjective, it's just going to amplify that. So I don't think making Academy Awards ballots public will do anything but cause riots. I mean, I just don't think it would accomplish anything good. Anyway, I don't know, Chris, as somebody who has been involved in bodies like this, you've been on the committee for SAG and stuff like that. What do you think about that? I mean, I haven't devoted weeks to thinking about this. Could there be upsides to making individual voting ballots made public? And so I don't know. How do you see it?
I don't think there would be upsides, really. I mean, when you're on the committee, I didn't get to talk about it till after the fact, after we got the nominations, because when you show up to these things, you're not supposed to broadcast it. You're not supposed to tell other people because you're just supposed to be making a unbiased vote, right? And obviously this is subjective, but you're supposed to go in saying, these are the performances that I think merit a nomination. And I think if, other people were able to bend my ear a little bit, maybe I would have voted differently. Or maybe if I felt the pressure of, hey, these members of SAG are not going to like you as much anymore or something like that, it could have made things really different. Anonymity makes us feel safe, right? That's why so many of you, when I say things like, I didn't catch Gladiator, then DM me about how I should kill myself. That's so sweet of you guys. Things are subjective. I don't think we should advertise who we vote for, right? I want to know who my senators vote for, like how they vote on bills and legislations.
Yeah, but they're publicly elected
officials.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to make an informed vote in that way, right? That has to do with legislation. It doesn't have to do with something subjective like art. And I think voicing those opinions is really, it's no one's business who they voted for. And I think, like you said, it just is going to make Twitter an even more hellish landscape than it already is, of people just saying how wrong you are because of your opinion. Opinions aren't facts, and you get to feel about them however you want to, but it doesn't mean that, an opinion has to make you act like an asshole.
All right, guys. Question is for you. I think there's a really interesting discussion to be had there. What do you think about the notion that Academy voters should have their ballots made public? I think it would just utterly ruin everything. I don't know. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe you can think of some pros to it that we're not considering right now. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I made the switch over to Mint Mobile a while ago. The process couldn't have been easier, and I can't believe that I am spending less than a third of what I was spending on one of the other major carriers before. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.